Hey guys, it's Leah with Family Heritage Living, and I know the burning question is, where have I been with the 30 days of videos? Well, I kind of, like I said in a previous video, gave up on that after all the issues I was having trying to do the 30 days, you know, the attacks of the gallbladder and then the surgery. I just felt it better to, well, not commit to that, even though that's what I really still intended to do. You ever felt like when you are praying specifically for something, I know y'all do that pray regular, and it's whenever you pray specifically for something, things seem to go in that direction. And I know as the flesh, it's taken back by surprise, but we know in the spiritual realm, there's a purpose for it. But I've been praying and fasting for health for my family, for spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental health, right? Because I do think that at times the devil will attack us in these ways, and it seems like the past year, my family's really been blessed with good health for the most part. We have some things that we deal with, like we've talked about. RJ has Tourette syndrome, and OCD is very, very strong in my family. I have OCD. I have siblings who have OCD. Ron has OCD on his side. A couple of our children have OCD. And so besides those things, which you just kind of learn to live with and deal with, we've been pretty blessed. Ron's back's been an issue. So, and then there's Josiah's health, of course, which has been perplexing and concerning. So, you've dealt a lot with that type of stuff. We've had a few minor things, nothing major. But it seems like for the past 2 years, and it's been ramping up the past year, things have been kind of crazy for us. I'm just not used to it. And actually, it might have even been since we've been up here. I've been struggling with some, changes as far as just age and stuff. And that affects you in all ways. That affects you in how you perceive things and how you deal with things. And it affects you physically. So that's been my clear prayer. Okay. And it seems like every time I really get focused on that, things happen. For example, I had been in prayer and fasting for some time when I had that gallbladder attack. Now, I know there's a spiritual lesson there. I don't know what it is. I'm still seeking. So at any rate, I've been back to praying, right? Specifically for these things. And let's see, RJ suffers because of his Tourette's, and some of it could be hereditary, because these things are hereditary too. Migraines, okay, but he's always had migraines, and we've always attributed to the tics that he has. Zebulon, Josiah never had headaches. I don't have headaches, and Simeon doesn't appear to have headaches, but Zebulon has had headaches, and he gets them periodically. Sometimes they're associated, he has an inability to process certain foods, and sometimes we can associate it with that. But starting about a week and a half ago, he had a crusher migraine. And one of those migraines where you think, okay, you know what, this might be a little bit more than the typical thing we're used to. And so I sat up with them and, was praying for him and stuff, just because I needed wisdom to know whether is this something that he needs to be seen for. And he fell asleep and he woke up and he's been right as rain since. Well, then 3 nights ago, Tuesday night, I was woken up at 11 o'clock by Simeon, who was vomiting all over. He vomited, sorry for the TMI, okay, but this leads to where I've been. He vomited all over himself and his sheets, and all over me, and all over the floor and toys. It was just horrible. Then you end up stepping in it because you're just trying to get your bearings and stuff. So I spent quite a bit of time cleaning up that area that night. And when I finally got to bed, I got the blankets and stuff, because, we don't have a washer. We have to do all this stuff by hand. Got all the blankets outside. Got all the toys picked up. We're going to need to be washed. Got up the next morning. It's way after midnight by this time, and I'm just exhausted. So I go to bed, got up the next morning. We started right in on laundry and cleaning toys, and it took forever. I got the blankets. I had 2 sets of beddings, sheets, comforters, quilts. the whole 9 yards, clothes that had not been spared. Washed, thank God. It was a beautiful sunny day. It was fairly warm for us. It was over 40 degrees. Got it on the line. By the time I got through, got them on the line. Thought they'd be fine. We'll let them drip overnight because you can't wring the bedding out completely in this type of situation with the way we wash. So we had to drip some of it off, and we'll bring it in the next morning, I said to myself. Woke up. Yesterday, it'd been snowing, and it snowed all day long. So I still got blankets on the line. Now the clothes came in. But so I was just exhausted from that yesterday because it was the most physical work I've done since my surgery. I mean, standing doing dishes isn't real physical, you know. Cleaning up the house, picking it up is not real physical. The laundry's pretty physical. And in a normal situation, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But I was just pooped yesterday. And so I didn't do anything. In fact, you know what? I got dressed long enough to I had to make a phone call. I had to run up the road to make a phone call to continue pursuing unemployment, which has been extended to the self-employed, but it's not coming through for us yet. So I went out to call the unemployment office to see what was going on with that. I got dressed for that. I came home and put my nightgown back on, and I stayed in that. Even did dishes in my nightgown and everything. I didn't care. I just wanted to be comfy, and that was it. And of course, there was baths to give after that night. So I mean, it was just kind of a very busy, crazy day. A couple of trips to the well to fill up water containers, and just kind of crazy. Okay, so, and you know, a lot of you had recommended a day in a life, and I just didn't really feel like that particular moment in time would be really a good thing for you to have to watch me wash all kinds of vomit off of things. So again, TMI, sorry for it, but that's just what we have dealt with. And of course, by the time I got everything outside and, I was pulling off bedding and getting toys and stepping in piles of it that I couldn't see because my eyes were half asleep and it was half dark. Ron was washing down Simeon. RJ and Josiah were trying to help as the best they could, although in that situation, nobody knows quite what to do. Zebulon slept through it all. And the funny thing is with Simeon, he didn't even know what he'd done. And I had no idea how he could not know what he had done because he did a lot of it. And of course, by the time you go to bed and you're just exhausted and you're worried. I mean, that was the big thing, is I was worried. And before he went to bed, he said, Mama, is that a sign of the virus? I said, is what the sign of a virus? I said, vomiting? I said, no, that's not a sign. He said, but I didn't vomit. I just coughed. And I said, honey, you didn't just cough. You got really sick. He said, no, I just coughed. So I thought that was kind of cute, poor little thing. But he's much better now. In fact, he was better yesterday. See, these guys, Simeon and Zebulon, have always had kind of jumpy stomachs. Zebulon has calmed down as he's gotten older, but if he would get too excited and stuff, and he would, what he would do. And Simeon, if he eats kind of real spicy food, and we had some of the best sausage ever that day, Tuesday, and I'm thinking that it just didn't settle for him, and it came back up. But at any rate, so we, of course you go to bed, and like I said, you're worried, and you're relieved when things are progressed much better. So, and you worry at times even when there's not a pandemic going on. You just worry because they're kids and you're the parents, and you get nervous when they get sick. And so that's just where I was. I wasn't here. All right. So besides all that, Josiah has been working diligently on the maple sap, and you can see in the background here on my Hoosier, I have a bunch of jars. I have 3 gallons of maple syrup in the icebox, ready to get heated up and sealed up into jars. He's got another gallon right now. I can hear it cooking back on the wood stove. I'm going to be sealing those up. And then we're freezing up here. Literally, I mean, the temperatures are freezing, which is great. Our trees haven't budded, and the temperatures drop down at night and freeze and then pick back up during the day. Although for the next couple of days, they will remain freezing. And that's perfect maple syrup weather, or maple sap weather. So up here, up in the north, we're still collecting sap. We hope to get another 6 gallons of syrup, if all works out well. Now it takes 40 gallons of sap to make about a gallon of syrup. And so you can do the math there. We've got a lot of sap left to get. We've got quite a few trees tapped this year compared to last year. Over double the number, I bet. So I have a couple of videos that I know I'm going to do, and they're on cooking. And I'm going to do one today, and I'll post it tomorrow, the good Lord willing. I only do things now. I don't care what my plans are. I take to the wisdom that I used to take 2 years ago in the word, do not plan for your tomorrows, and I'm paraphrasing there. And I seem to forget that. Whenever I forget it, guess what? The Lord reminds me, sometimes very subtly and sometimes very bluntly, don't do that. So I'm not doing that anymore. After last month and the month before, I just am not going to do it. So the Lord willing, I'm going to make chocolate granola tomorrow. We make a lot of granola, my guys. That's the cereal we eat. And when our milk is being, our goats are milking, we go through a lot. Okay, so I buy the oatmeal by the 50-pound bags because we go through that much oatmeal. And, I've done a video on how to make oatmeal a lot, talked about, someone called it a course on Oatmeal 101 because oatmeal's just not oatmeal. I mean, you've got to make it the right way, but everybody likes granola in our home. I was sitting here the other morning contemplating, breakfast is the hardest meal of the day for me with everybody because everybody is so different, and you just can't make one thing and everybody like it. And it's not that they're finicky, it's just that really it has an effect on them, or they just don't like it. And it's always been that way. Breakfast has just always been hard. Unless I'm making donuts or something, it's just a complicated meal for our family. So I was sitting here the other morning after making a bunch of granola, and I was thinking back as a kid, and I was hearing cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And I thought, what if you could make chocolate-covered granola? Everybody in my house likes chocolate. And if it were just cocoa, if it's not really a lot of sugar in there, I would be okay with that. And so what did I do? I Googled it, and I found a recipe that was to my liking, and we tried it. And it was fabulous, and everybody liked it. So that's what I'm going to make. I'm going to make some more of that. I thought I'd go ahead and videotape it for you guys. And if anybody's willing to try it, because it really is good. And if you do granola right, it can be really healthy. And when I say right, if you soak it, I don't always soak it. It's harder to cook and get a crunch on it. But as far as comparison to store-bought cereals, granola is a far better option for you if you're looking for a quick meal, if you're a cereal person. And if you like chocolate, then the chocolate covered granola is great. I'm also going to be canning some milk. Our goats are producing so much this year, which is nice, but it's taken us by surprise a little bit because they don't normally produce more than what we can drink and what I can, cook with. On our larger herds, we had enough to can and we had enough to make cheese with. But this has really been, with these guys, it's been, since we've been up here, we've just really had to use it fresh, and then it was done. But we've got an excess, so I'm going to can some milk, and I'm also going to make some farmer's cheese. So those are the up and coming cooking videos. Let's see, is there anything else going on? I don't think so. Not in the mood to talk about COVID. I'm wore out on it. Not in the mood to talk about finances. Kind of wore out on all that right now. Kind of wore out on the health thing, but that was really what this video was about. So, praying that everybody is doing well, staying safe and healthy, and that you are able to get what you need. If you haven't stocked up, and I go back to my summer's videos about the importance of a pantry. And for all those that were naysayers then, because there was a few, I hope you realize, if you're still watching, what I was talking about. It wasn't talking about hoarding, and it wasn't talking about the end of the world, but it was talking about being prepared. And this is an example of why we should always be prepared in our pantry. And again, I'm talking from firsthand experience, going from a very, very heavy, sustainable pantry years ago that would sustain us for 5 years in many products, 4 in others, to not having a pantry at all and having to restock. So I've lived both worlds, and I still stand by the fact that it is important to have a pantry, even if it's just for a few weeks, preferably a few months or longer. Longer's better, but at the least a few months. So, and you know what, maybe I'll try to find those videos and link them at the end here if anybody's interested. Oh, let's see. So I guess that's probably it for this video. I just wanted to pop in here, let everybody know we're not falling off the face of the earth and why we were gone yet again. One of these days, you're just going to be finding a daily video, the good Lord willing, a daily video, and I'm not going to talk about a consecutive run. Maybe we'll just surprise ourselves and everyone else and just be able to do it. But in the meantime, we'll see you as soon as we can again. God bless. Bye.